So I made the videos about putting together the car and tuning it in kind of like the first week of my summer car. And I figured maybe it'd be a good idea to make some repair videos. So let's start. Crap. Let's start. Let's start the video. Uh,
Girl.
yeah, whatever. So, if you ever want to know if your starter is bad, this is a pretty good indication when because it doesn't even want to try to start. Um, if you are turning the key and it's not wanting to turn over and just that might be your distributor or spark plugs, possibly. But if it's just doing that real quick, right, right, that's probably your starter. So when I drive to Flatari's, if I'm going to drive the Satsuma there to work on it, I don't park at his shop or even across the street because he likes to pitch a fit um, about the car for some reason. I mean, it's a classic, man. It's 1972, man, or 75. I can't remember. Anyways, um, yeah, it's it's a nice car, man. It's a beauty. Anyways, he bitches a fit, so you know, I just like to park over here because I don't want to hear about it. So to remove the starter, it's a size 7 bolt. But before I start messing with the starter, since I'm pretty sure there's electrical components in there, I remove the battery. Size 8 bolts for the battery, starting with the negative and then the positive to remove it. But you might already know that. Now the starter is 2 size 7 bolts. Um, and there's one in the back and one in the front. I don't remove that little size 5 nut up there for the positive battery terminal or whatever, because you don't need to remove it. So, boom. Another thing that is very useful that I have started doing is I carry the wiring mess inside my car in the glove box because you're going to need to reattach the negative battery terminal to the battery ground connector on the starter, which is about 295 marca, I think it was. I don't know. And the starter is it's a pretty quick fix. You just pop it back on. I screw in the back uh, little bolt just so I don't forget, because I have done that. I have a habit of doing that. And if you don't screw in that back one, then when you try to start your car, it'll fall off. Your starter will fall off. Now, to be able to wire it, you got to put your battery back in the little area, it's little terminal. And then you connect the negative terminal to the, no, not the front light connector, to the battery ground connector. Right about there. And I just pop that back in the glove compartment. Boop. Bonk. And then make sure you tighten that bolt in the front back up. And then grab your size 8 wrench. No, grab your size 8 wrench. There you go. To reconnect your battery, starting with positive and then negative. But I'm sure you probably already know that. And that's replacing your starter. It's pretty simple. Don't forget to check your fluids. You want to check color and amount. Your engine will burn through the fluids, but at a predictable rate to a certain extent. If it starts being too much, that's when you know there's something going on to diagnose. Which is good to diagnose it early before it starts, making other parts start to fail. And now that the starter's been switched out and replaced, it should start on the first go. Especially since it's warmed up. There you go. It seems warmish. Start pushing the choke in. That red light is the alternator not exactly functioning. The battery is being used, essentially. Which drains the battery. So, I'm going to replace the alternator. Technically, it's still good-ish. When I'm driving in gear, that red light should turn off. It was turning off as I was driving. But the fact that it's not working when it's idling is a sign that it's starting to go bad. So I figure might as well fix it and replace it before it, goes bad and I don't notice and my battery's drained. That'd suck. So 425 marca for the alternator. That one I've never had to rewire, so that's useful. I also removed the alternator belt just because I didn't know if it was going to mess anything up. I didn't want to, mess anything up. And then I lost track of my alternator because it was hiding behind the wrench case, spanner case. It threw a spanner in the works. So, yeah, alternator is a little hard to be able to get it in there and be able to see it. But yeah, you just gotta find the check mark. Sorry about that. And it's a size 10 little nut back there. And then that's a size 7 bolt up top, connecting to the, what is that called? I don't remember. Head cover? I don't know. I think that's just a hat, a head cover. And then to be able to get the alternator belt back on, I had to move the alternator far to the left again, so that I could get the check mark to attach it, and then just zero it out or whatever you call it. Move it as far to the right as you can, and then 2 notches to the left, and then screw it in, whatever, tighten it up. And then, so now that the alternator is replaced, the light should be off when it's idling, with the choke pushed in all the way. looks like it's good. Don't see the red light. So yep, there you go. When I remember like first starting, I never knew if the red light was good or bad. I was like, does that mean the alternator is working or it's not working? Apparently, it means it's not working. Or I believe it's more that it's operating under battery power, um, and the battery isn't being recharged. And just driving home, lovely scenic view. I think I see some flowers growing. And always remember, be cautious around train tracks and cross them in whichever way that you find the safest. The way that works best for me is the least amount of time spent on the tracks I find to be the safest. But just, whatever works for you. And, stop at home, eat, drink. When I was switching out the alternator, I noticed the alternator belt did look a little rough. So I figured it'd maybe be a good idea, head to Tamo's, get a new alternator belt, or an extra one. And, some fluids, because it's good to just have stuff on hand. And it's also, it's good to just kind of get a feel of the car and see how it's running. I try not to run it too hard. I usually try to do like 60 or 70 on the dirt roads. I don't know if that's fast. And technically, I would say that for some people it's fast and for other people it's slow. So mostly just drive whatever is comfortable for you, whatever you feel comfortable with. And also looking out for those dust clouds in the distance. Just keep your eyes peeled. Try not to get too complacent and used to the drive. That can happen, and then you'll start driving and daydreaming and thinking about something else, and before you know it, there's Penna. Okay, so now that I am at Tamos, you can see some exhaust coming out of the hood. That wasn't happening at the house. That is a new development. And so that's probably a cracked head gasket. Leaking exhaust. I'm just trying to stay stocked up as well. I like to have a spare alternator belt, a spare oil filter, a spare motor oil, spare coolant, and like full bottles, brake oil, certain things, spark plugs. That's good to have extras, and also the things for the house. What do you call those? Fuses. Extra fuses are good too. Now, normally to change out the head gasket, I would stop at Flatari's again, because the head gasket's actually super easy to fix and switch out. But Flatari's is closed, so I figured. Well, it's getting later. I'm assuming he's closed. I figure driving home, and then I would just remove the head gasket there, and then I can probably just drive it to the. Look out for the clouds. dust in the distance. But everybody was so lucky. Alright, so I'm back at the house. But I guess no, the engine is getting a little, the temperature is a little to the right of the middle mark. So it's getting a little warm, but I mean, everything seems to be, running fine. So yeah, pop the hood. To remove the head gasket, all you have to do, um, oh, yeah, I mean, if you have exhaust coming out, I mean, it's one of those things like I'll always check to see if my exhaust pipe is properly connected. Um, but I mean, 90% of the time, it's going to be the head gasket. And all you have to do is remove the rocker cover and then the cylinder head right here. And these are both all size 7 bolts. There's 3 on each side, 6 on the rocker cover, and then 10 on the cylinder head. And then once you get all those unscrewed, you just remove that, and all the air filter and carburetor and everything comes with it. It's nice, handy. And then that's the head gasket, and those are the pistons. There's supposed to be a head on that one right there, so that's busted. And then the third or second piston right there is very dark. It's pretty much shot as well. So I'm gonna have to remove both of those pistons. And the other two didn't look that great either. So I'm going to be removing and replacing all 4 pistons. Which does entail removing the entire engine. So it's going to be a little bit more than just a head gasket. I'm contemplating on if it was the pistons causing the smoke. So I'm actually just going to replace those first. And if there's still smoke after replacing all 4 pistons, then I'll replace the head gasket. Like I said, it's not that hard. We already had removed the rocker cover and the cylinder head. All you gotta do is right click on the head gasket and it removes it. And then you just grab the new one and slap it on. So technically though, I guess with Futari's shop you remove the head gasket and then you buy a new one, and that just completely deletes the old one. And replaces it, which is good. I mean, it saves memory and all that, I'm sure. But yeah, so it's a simple, super easy fix. But I think first, before I fix or switch out the head gasket, I'm probably gonna replace all 4 of those pistons to see maybe if they were causing some smoke. I'm assuming busted pistons like that are probably going to be burning up my oil and heating up the engine a bit. That might be why it was a little to the right of the middle for the temperature on the engine. And also probably why the oil did seem to be getting a bit darker rather quicker. And I mean, I didn't think it was using up that quick of the oil, like as far as the oil level. Because I mean, you want to look at both of those for your oil, is the color of the oil and the oil level. If it's getting too dark too fast, or if it's getting too low too fast, then either you have a leak somewhere, or your engine is just burning up the oil because like those pistons, yeah. I guess if I was losing oil but not really getting too dark in color, the first thing I would look for would be a hole in my oil pan, um, because then you might be leaking oil. Um, but yeah, I mean, you want to check your fluids regularly on your vehicles, uh, because they kind of are telling you what's going on with the vehicle. Your oil is telling you what's going on inside the engine block. Um, your your coolant level, if that's going low quicker than you think it should be, then perhaps the hoses aren't properly connected. If they are properly connected, then your engine might be running hot uh, because it's burning up more coolant than it should. If it seems like it's not using any coolant, but your engine is getting hotter than it seems like it should, if it's getting hotter than the middle point in the temperature gauge, and your engine coolant doesn't seem to be the coolant doesn't seem to be going down, then your water pump might be busted. Um, it's just checking different things. You also want to keep check your brake fluids because those do need refilled from time to time. Um, yeah, just it's not. It doesn't have to be frustrating, um, because when you're checking the fluids, um, you're not just checking to see if you need to refill your fluids. You're checking to make sure that the fluids are being used at a predictable rate, um, that they aren't being used too fast, that they aren't being used too slow, like the coolant. If it's not going down, maybe there's a problem there. If it's not going down fast enough, you know. Sometimes it doesn't go down that fast, and it feels really nice. Um, but yeah, it's just the fluids, checking them, checking your vehicle, check your tires. Don't forget to check your tires every once in a while, which you have to remove to do, and that's okay. Um, but yeah, they're telling you a story about what's going on inside the vehicle, and if there are any problems. Hopefully there aren't. If you can, stay on the stuff, then maybe, you know, things can run well for a while, and that's pretty good. Um, yeah. So thanks for joining me on this first episode of Zen and the Art of Satsuma Repair. Um, I'll probably be making these as I need to repair the car. I'll be working on this second episode of replacing the pistons and seeing if that fixes the exhaust smoke out of the engine. If it doesn't, then I'll be replacing the head gasket. Because I mean, the head gasket, if it breaks, like that's the seal between the upper and lower of the engine or whatever. So that's where your exhaust fumes are going to be coming out, if it's correct. Anyways, have a good day. Goodbye.